Danilo is very close to signing for Nottingham Forest, and he will be the second player we get from Palmeiras. And guys, you have been asking me about Danilo. What's he like as a player? Is he all the hype that is surrounding him? Is it all built up and correct? Well, we've gone a step further for you, and we've got our mate to come on. Mario is going to talk you through him. So let's get into the episode. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you are well, and welcome to this special edition where we will be talking to our lovely friend Mario, who's out in Brazil at the moment, and he's going to tell us all about Palmeiras. He's a huge Palmeiras fan and a fountain of knowledge on the likes of Scarpa and Danilo. And guys in the chat, get your questions into Mario. So he's going to, anything you want to know about Danilo, anything you want to know about our new favorite beloved Scarpa, this is why we've got him on. And Mario, I just want to say hello and thank you so much for taking the time to come in. I think you're on mute, buddy.
No, it's my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me, Wolverine. So it's good to be here to talk about one of my favorite players as well. Like Scarpa is like very, very well beloved by Palmeiras fans. And as well as Danilo. So I don't know what's going to happen. We have multiple offers for Danilo as well, but it seems like Nottingham came, strong with this offer. So you guys should be excited. I'm telling you that.
We are very excited. I mean, if he's anything as good as Scarpa has been in the first couple of games, and we've hyped him up a lot, and we've talked about Scarpa over the last few weeks as well, buddy. It would be really good. Should we start with Scarpa first? And just kind of, if you could tell us, because the argument, well, the debate, shall I say, we're having amongst us as Forest fans at the moment is, where is Scarpa's strongest position? Because he looks like he can play everywhere.
That's the thing. That's the trick. And it wasn't always like this. I feel like he actually started to be this joker card in our card game when he joined, when Abel Ferreira, the current manager, joined Palmeiras. So Scarpa, firstly, he began playing on the sides as a winger, so he has his main qualities are, of course, you guys are well aware of that. So his crosses, free kicks, curves, corners, bends, outside kicks. So, I mean, he can play anywhere. I actually saw him play as a left back when Palmeiras was actually
against Chelsea, wasn't it? Yeah.
Actually against Chelsea as well, because we were trying to be very defensive towards the end of the match, because it's hard to compare the level of a Premier League team and a Brazilian league team, so we did our best not to be like humiliated by Chelsea, even though Palmeiras is being like one of the prominent teams elite in Brazil. Chelsea was very, very superior, so we try our best to compete against them. But so Scarpa, before that game, our left back, somewhere mid 2021, 2022, he got injured. So we didn't have anyone to replace him. And Abel Ferreira trusted Scarpa. He's a team player. I'm just letting you guys know. So that's why he can play wherever you need him to play. So like, if you need him to be a center forward striker, he's gonna do that. If you need him to be like a center back, he's gonna do that as well. Although he's not very physically gifted, like he's a very thin player, but he has skills to play all over the pitch.
And that's what we've noticed as well. And it's also his off the field personality, which I want to ask you about. But just before I do, guys in the chat, how fantastic is Mario in here? And he's growing his YouTube channel. He's away in Brazil. You're normally in Vancouver, aren't you? And he's taken the time out to come in and talk to us tonight. So can we please show him some love? Just click on the title. His YouTube channel is there. And let's get him loads of subscribers, because he's absolutely fantastic. And we really appreciate, with the time difference and everything, you coming on. So thank you for that.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
But I want to ask you about Scarpa off the pitch, because he's been like this breath of fresh air coming in. He's always on the Rubik's Cube. He's already, day one, he was skateboarding around Nottingham. A smile on his face, and just talking about him now makes me smile. And the fact that he's left Palmeiras, and you guys still have this love and affection for him as well, and you got a smile on your face every time we say his name. Was he like this off the pitch as well in Brazil?
Always, always. Just, a question for you. He's not like any other usual or common football players, is he? Like, he's a very outgoing guy. He's a very funny guy. He likes to play jokes, and everyone in the team loves him. He used to play around and do vines and stories for Instagram and just pranking his teammates. So I think he's fantastic. It's one of my biggest regrets not being able to meet him in person. It's very hard. São Paulo is a big city, so it's hard to bump into the Palmeiras players or whatever.
Yeah.
But we miss him because of that. Like the dressing room is a different place with Scarpa in there. And the teammates also miss him a lot. So we can see that if you go to Palmeiras YouTube and, people still talk about him. We still talk. You should have seen. I mean, I have a video here. I don't know if I'll be able to send it to you and then later you can play it. His last game for Palmeiras, he got a standing ovation for by 37, 40,000 people shouting his name. And he wanted to, leave his best impression. He scored a goal. He gave everything he had from the first moment until he left Palmeiras. So we have nothing negative to say about him, except for the fact that when he first joined Palmeiras in 2018, it took him sort of like a year and a half to adapt. He was having difficulties. Yeah. But my opinion is that it was the manager's fault. We didn't have a good manager at the time. Once he found someone who actually knew how to value his game style and, the way he wanted to, I want to be in the pitch. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what you want me to do. I'll be there and I'll give my 100%. So that's why we fell in love with him. And I'm just letting you know, man, if you don't keep him, we'll have him back gladly.
No, he's my wallpaper now. We can't get rid of him. And guys in the chat, I've opened up a Q&A as well. So get your questions into Mario. Mario will kindly answer any of the Scarpinha questions and any questions on Danilo, who we're going to talk about in a second. Can I ask, though, can you explain to us the nickname Scarpinha? I'm saying it right. It's a bit of a "y" at the end, isn't it? It's Scarpinha. And this whole pig thing, because we see a lot of it. I get it loads in my comments from the Palmeiras fans. Would you mind explaining that to us so we have a better understanding of it as a Forest fan base? And is it something he likes to be called?
I mean, the second part, what was it? Scarpinha and the pig?
The pig, yeah. The pig symbol.
Okay,
I get a lot of the pig symbols in the comments, yeah.
Okay, so the pig is actually Palmeiras' mascot. So it's one of our mascots. So we refer to ourselves as the pigs. Firstly, it began as a very negative thing in the 1980s when the oppositions, the rivals, would call us dirty pigs because we have some connections with Italy. Like Palmeiras first, when it was founded, it was called Palestra Italia. So it has Italian roots, and the fascism and during the war back then sort of turned into like a negative thing for the rivals. So they basically started directing, calling us dirty pigs because of that, which is very bad. It didn't have anything to do with the team and whatnot. But instead of being mad, what Palmeiras did was, we are the pigs. We embrace the nickname. So the first mascot is the parakeet, which is like a traditional bird here in Brazil, which is green and yellow.
Yeah, that's the one I've seen. Yeah.
Exactly. So now we have two. I think it was officially announced back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. There's two mascots now inside the games, inside the pitch. So there's a parakeet and there's a pig. So that's the only reason for the pig. For the pig, Palmeiras fans are gonna, post that anywhere in the comments. So the nickname, we actually like to give nicknames to all the players. So his name is Gustavo Scarpa. So if you take Ronaldinho, for example, Ronaldinho, his name is Ronaldo. So Inho is just like a diminutive for his name. It's like an affectionate way to, address him. So Ronaldinho, we had Juninho, who played for Lyon in France.
Oh, what a free kick taker he was.
Yeah, that guy was, I think, one of the best free kick takers I've ever seen. It's just like a friendly way, an affectionate way of calling him. So Scarpa became Scarpinha. So you're saying it correctly, Scarpinha.
My neighbor's from Brazil, so I get the
So you have that. Yeah, I can see that, dude. You're a very smart guy. So Scarpinha, I mean, it's just like it's an affectionate way. We love him, so that's why we gave him the nickname. And he's in our hearts, dude. I don't have a lot to say about him, except, other than great things. So yeah, I bet you guys already love him. So you get
We
to know him more.
absolutely love him. We absolutely love him. It's the way he's got. I don't know if you've seen the recent Instagram reels, but he's got Rubik's cubes for all the Nottingham Forest players.
Yeah,
So they've been learning
too.
Yeah, because it's his intelligence as well that's really impressed me. He seems very intelligent as a footballer, but off the pitch as well. From doing my research on him over the months, reading Rubik's cubes, things like that. He's very intellectual, isn't he?
He reads Dostoevsky in the dressing room, dude, while other players are browsing through Instagram and listening to music, whatever, and just doing something that doesn't add anything to their like personality. Scarpa likes to listen to rock and roll, likes to skate. He likes to do the Rubik's cube and reads a lot. So every time there's Palmeiras players who actually make fun of him, like, what the hell are you doing, man? We're all here trying to concentrate. And you're by yourself on the corner just reading Dostoevsky. Is that how you focus, how you prepare yourself mentally to the matches? And he said, yeah, that's what I do. That's how I concentrate. So it's pretty weird. I'm going to be honest, you don't see many players doing that, right?
You don't. Not even here. No, yeah, it's usually earphones on, music plays in, but him head in a book, skateboarding, exercising. It's just fantastic. I want to bring in some of the questions from the guys in the chat. We got nearly 200 people in here. Thank you all for being in here. Wow. But only 61 likes. Please hit the like button. And please, what a great guest Mario is. Can you go and subscribe to his channel? The link is in the title and the description. And of course, we'll be talking to Mario a lot throughout the season, as hopefully Forest buy more and more of the Palmeiras players. Before we get on to Danilo, I just want to bring up some of the questions from the guys in the chat. Let's see, which one should we go for? It says Mark's asking about Brazil. He says, why are top Brazilians coming to the 2-star Nottingham Forest? So obviously we have our 2 stars because we've won the European Cup twice. What do you think the attraction is? Is it Premier League, or is there a Forest known in Brazil before Scarpa joined, or is it because Scarpa there's been a bit of an explosion in the fan base?
Well, it depends on how much of a football fan you are. Like myself, I'm 30 years old, so born in 1992, and ever since I was born, my father taught me to love football, and not just Palmeiras. Of course, Palmeiras is in my blood. I have a tattoo. I have everything. So it's my team. But I love learning about football worldwide. So I watch the Premier League. I watch all the Europeans, or European big leagues, even MLS. Now that I'm living in Vancouver for the past 3 years, I watch the MLS as well. So I of course I knew about Forest. I've watched many games. The thing is, broadcasts in Brazil are basically focused on the big 6 or big 8. I don't know how many of the big clubs you have in England. So about the same. About the same, yeah. So I actually knew Forest. I knew about the history of the team. So yeah, I know that you're not going through. Yeah, I know that you're not going through the best, like phase of the history of the club right now. But it doesn't matter. Palmeiras has been there as well from 1974 until 1993. We didn't win a single trophy, and then we started winning again. So, I mean, it's all, it fluctuates. Here in Brazil, the fun thing is that you don't have only 8 clubs or 7 clubs or 6 clubs, or like Spain, you don't have only 3 clubs fighting for the championship. You have like 10, 12 clubs that, start the season with aspirations of, being the champions. So it's a very fun championship to watch. So I really do recommend that you guys watch it whenever you guys have the chance, Of course, the competition levels and the level of the games, they're not compared to the Premier League. They're very, below the tier. So the thing is, if you love football, you're going to know, Forest, you're going to know Blackpool, you're going to know Southampton, you're going to know every other, first division and second division in England. Yeah. So that's my deal. Most Brazilians, I got to say, they don't actually look into it that much. So yeah, it's a low percentage, but yeah, we have very affectionate soccer fans football fans. Sorry, I'm not calling it soccer just because I live in Canada. I refuse to do that. I refuse to do that. When they call it soccer, it gets me pissed. But well, that's it, dude. Like we know if you look into the leagues and the country, the story of the sport itself, which was created in England, you have to know what it's all about, right?
Yeah, fantastic. I got a really good question here for you, buddy, if you don't mind, from Jason. Sorry, from Richard. He says, "Hello, Mario. We need to sign a centre back and a striker in this transfer window. Are there any players you can recommend from the Brazilian league that would stand out? We've been linked with Pablo. I can't pronounce his name. Mia,
Pablo
Maia.
Maya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he one that is on your radar that you may have some information about? And do you rate him at all? I hear a lot of this. He's a baby Kaka. He has that potential. I've heard a lot of. Are you shaking your head a little? Is he?
Yeah, I mean, mostly because he plays for one of my biggest rivals, right? Or
I
he
thought that
played
would be the
for,
answer.
for
Yeah.
Sao Paulo, right? Yeah, but the thing is, he's a good player. He has potential to grow. The thing is, like players in Brazil, they actually they don't focus on their tactical, style of playing when they're in Brazil. In Brazil, it's mostly about the talent. So when you see in the past, like since 2019, we had Jorge Jesus from Portugal, the manager, came to Flamengo to coach Flamengo, and he actually like revolutionized the way that the players think here in Brazil, the way they behave, the way they post themselves inside the pitch. And Abel Ferreira, which is from Portugal as well, which is our manager, he did the same. That's why he had so much success in the past years, and Jorge Jesus was very successful in 2019 as well. So the thing is, if Pablo Maia moves to England, it doesn't matter the team. The training program, the way they get buffed. Like I'm going to give you a few examples, like Ronaldinho, Robinho, and when he went to Real Madrid. Kaká, Real Madrid and Man City. Kaká, when he went to Milan, they were very thin, like no muscle mass whatsoever. In a period of like 3-4 months, they're already buffed. So they do something differently in Europe. I don't know if it's the culture. It's more physical. It's a more physical style of playing compared to Brazil. So just to answer your question, Pablo Maia is a good player, but it wouldn't be on my radar to sign him for Palmeiras.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like it could work. It could work. Like he's not a bad player at all.
Yeah, because it's the same with Scarpini, isn't it? He's quite a lean body. He's not very hugely muscular. Is he good on the physical aspect of the game, or do you think that's maybe one of his weaknesses, being able to hold players off?
He's very tall. He's taller than Scarpa, so it's one point in his advantage. But I have to be 100% honest. It's not one of the players I've been following in the past.
No, I meant sorry from Scarpa, because I'm talking about Scarpa.
Okay,
because he's quite lean as well. Does he struggle with a physical match, do you say, or does his skill kind of outweigh that?
That's the thing. He's not very physically gifted. He's a little older, 29 years old. But his style, his play style actually makes up for it. So you're not going to see him tackling, a lot, or winning disputes in the center field. But you're going to see as soon as he has the ball, he knows what he has to do. He knows how to find players with his peripheral vision. Like he doesn't have to look to know that the player's there. This is why Palmeiras had so much success in the past 2-3 years, winning 2 Libertadores Cups in less than 1 year. Because of the COVID, we won the Libertadores in January 2021 and then November 2021. And Scarpa was one of the main players. He was always in the spotlight. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, I've noticed that straight away. I did a review on his first game, and he only played 20 minutes in Southampton. And the first thing he does before he receives the ball, he's looked over his left shoulder, he's looked over his right shoulder. While the ball's coming to him, he's taken a picture of what surrounds him, and then he's moved the ball and whipped some beautiful passes. We are so excited to have him. I want to ask you a couple more questions, buddy, and then we'll go on to Danilo as well. We got way over 200 of you in the chat, guys. Please do hit the like button. Subscribe to Mario's YouTube channel. It's right there in the title and in the description. He's fantastic. I want to ask you a question here. If we start to move it on towards Danilo, Forest Dance saying, Mario, if we manage to sign Danilo, do you think his the relationship he has, do you think his relationship will help both of them settle in to the country and the city, him and Scarpa? Were they quite close in the Palmeiras team? I think we lost him at the crucial question. His internet's just gone out. While we're waiting for Mario to come back, guys, how are you feeling about Danilo? Just to give you the latest update on it, it seems that he is coming to Forest. It's very, very close. Forest are ahead of Arsenal in this. We're ahead of Atletico Madrid in this. Newcastle were rumored to come in. I don't know if Spacebar's in there, but Forest is still the bigger pulling club than Newcastle. On top of that, okay, we'll get him back in 2 seconds. I think his net's gone. But yeah, on top of that, the player himself, this is what I want you guys to ask Mario about when he jumps back in is, do you think, what player does he remind you of? Like, if you were to liken him to someone. So far, from the other Palmeiras guys I know, they've said to me, let me just check this list out. Camavinga from Real Madrid. They've said Pogba. They've said Jude Bellingham. They've said Kante. They've said all kinds of names that just really do excite me. And yeah, he's saying it just crashed. He's coming back in, guys. So we'll keep the conversation going while we're waiting. But can you read Mario's links? Is blurry in my crap phone, please? Of course I can. So his YouTube link is, Omai will put it in the chat as well, so you can click on it. It's at JMPALESTRA. So if you click on that link that Omai's put in there, then you'll subscribe to him. Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying there, Chris. Very like Pogba, plays like Kante. Can you imagine all those players I just mentioned all merged in one? How crazy would that be? We're going to ask Mario about Danilo as soon as he's back in, and he is back in here. Hi, buddy. Welcome back.
I don't know what happened, dude. My computer
Modern technology. Can I just give a quick shout out to Old Gamer? He's one of your boys. He's a Palmeiras fan. He's always in here giving us some great updates. He's saying Reggie and Angolan. Would you agree with that? Should we move the conversation on to Danilo and your thoughts on him? Can we start by, a lot of the Forest fan base didn't know much about him until yesterday, and I've been inundated with questions, and I've spoken to some Palmeiras fans, obviously yourself as well. If you could tell us a bit about him, his style of play, and really to help us understand him, a bit like Old Gamer did, what players does he remind you of that maybe we would know across the pond here in Europe, buddy?
Well, if we're going to start with Brazilian players, Danilo, despite being very thin as well and lean like Scarpa, and he's young, he's only 21 years old, just joined Palmeiras in 2020. So it took him just a couple of games to get into the pitch and just conquer our hearts with his, abilities. He's very, despite being thin, he's very strong. So, and he's very fast as well. So the biggest quality that I see in him is that when he gets the ball back, he, just like Scarpa, he looks up and he has the quality to start building the place. So he's a box-to-box player, like you guys like to call it. So he's very, very. He also can play as a center defensive midfielder or as a center midfielder, just having the ball and driving it towards the attacking, place. So I would say at first, Brazilian players I would compare him to is Casemiro. Casemiro has a lot of quality, with the ball. Despite I think Casemiro strikes the ball and better than he does. That's one thing he needs to improve. But to cite one or two players in the Premier League, I would say Pogba. Pogba is actually like very tall. Danilo, for his age, he's tall as well, and he has a lot to develop.
And long legs, very leggy, isn't he, as well? Yeah, I felt that when I saw him with like a prime Pogba in Juventus, maybe at his time there, his old spell, yeah.
So when we won the Libertadores in 2020, we scored a goal actually in the 99th minute. So basically like 1 minute before we went to overtime. So he took the ball from the opposition, lifted his head, saw a player, the winger on the right, and just kicked it to him like with a very nice curve, very nice bend. Then the ball was crossed into the box and had it in. So I mean, he has a lot of quality, dude, and I have no doubt that if he goes to England, Nottingham, to Arsenal wanted him back in July. They made an offer as well. Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a very big Arsenal fan either, but he's going to develop this physical part, you know, and it's going to make him even more complete player. So, dude, I like my friends here are saying, please don't like sell Danilo as a great player because they're going to want him even more. Of course I do. Of course I do.
And is that how the fan base generally feels? Has he been quiet? Because he's played about 58 games, 60 games for you already, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's quite young in his career. But he and he got into the Brazil national team, didn't he? If I'm right, for the World Cup. Did he go to the World Cup?
No, not to the World Cup. But before the World Cup, he got called up for like one or two qualifying matches. But that's when he actually we started to see a downfall in his game. The thing is, I think he's too young and he got too excited about the whole prospect of, you know, a World Cup and, you know, transfer to Europe. He's a very expensive player when it comes to his like release clause. His release clause is close to 100 million euros, which is not going to happen. I think it's just for security reasons. Like we didn't want like a team to just come and pay 30 million and just take him. Because I feel like he's worth more than, honestly, without due respect, I think he's worth more than what Nottingham wants to pay for him, which is around 20 million euros.
Yeah, it's 20 million euros, 18 million pounds. And I mean, where would you value him at the moment? What would you think he's worth? More than that, I assume?
In terms of money, I would say I wouldn't even begin to talk for less than 28 to 30 million.
Wow, really?
28 to 30, because he's young, dude. He has so much to offer. So whoever signs him and actually if you give him like a proper plan, you know, like a proper, you know, development plan, he's going to be a beast. He's already a beast here in Brazil. You know, even rivals, they actually fear him inside the pitch. So yeah, he's a very consistent player. I would say the only thing that he needs to improve a little bit as well, apart from the physical part, is just his timing when tackling. He commits a lot of fouls, but I think that's more because of... Sorry?
Does he pick up a lot of yellow cards?
Yellow cards, yeah. Not many red cards, though, so he knows how to control himself. But that's the thing. I feel like he's still very immature sometimes. During the Libertadores Cup this past year, when we were playing the semifinals at home, he got sent off, I think, 39 to 40 minutes into the first half. And it was in the middle of the pitch. Like, it was a stupid play. We all were, you know, mad at him. But, I mean, it happens, dude.
He's still young. He's still young.
He's still young. You can't expect him to do everything right. So that was one of the worst parts of his, you know, trajectory in Palmeiras. But, like, dude, I'm going to say he's fantastic. If you guys sign him, you're not going to regret it. You're going to have a beast of a player and so many perspective of, you know, even getting even better. So I mean, yeah, I wish I could say he's bad so that you guys stop trying to hire him, because I want him to stay at Palmeiras. But well, that's what happens in Brazil. Young players leave, even younger. Like, for example, Palmeiras has a beast of a player right now called Hendrick. He got signed by Real Madrid. He's only 16 years old, and they pay 72 million euros, and he's only gonna join Real Madrid when he completes 18 years old. So July 2024. So like he's already like thought to be the new Neymar, the new Messi, the new Ronaldo, whatever. I don't want to compare him to any of those players, but physically and in the talent, I would say he's closer to Ronaldo, the original R9. I'm not talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm talking about R9. So
Fat Ronaldo is like
fat Ronaldo. That's a good
but
point.
I remember him as the Ronaldo. You know, he was the Ronaldo.
Yeah. Being born in 1992, I grew up watching him, so he's one of my favorite players as well. Despite the fact that he played for Corinthians, my biggest rival, I still love the guy.
Respect him, I just want to give a quick shout out to Phil. Thank you so much for the 179, Phil. Loving the content and the guests tonight. Mario is unbelievable. Thank you so much. Are you still okay for time, Mario? I've got loads of questions.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead, dude. Let's go. Let's go.
Guys, Mario is away in Brazil, and he's been kind enough to take the time out to come and tell us about Scarpinha and Danilo as well. So please go and subscribe to his channel. It's in the title. We got way over 200 of you in here. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I see the Palmeiras fans in here. If you want to write some questions to Mario in Portuguese, I'm sure he'll translate it for us. He'll be kind enough to do that. Couple of questions coming in, and it's just talking about our other Brazilian player, Renan Lodi, or is it pronounced Lodi or Logi? What's the correct pronunciation?
It's Lodi.
Lodi, okay.
Renan Lodi.
Renan Lodi. How did the Brazilians see him? Because I know, obviously, in the Copa America, he was villainized a bit for what happened there. But as a player, is he a player that is respected in Brazil? Obviously, the stuff he's done with Atletico Madrid, and he obviously missed out on the World Cup as well. Is he not a fan favorite at the moment with Brazil?
I mean, he is one of the favorites due to the lack of more skilled players. I would say that. Not that he's not skilled, not that he's not a good player, but like we should have more, qualified players to go to a World Cup, and that's why Brazil did poorly in this past World Cup. And then Lodge, don't get me wrong, he's a very good player. When he left Brazil, he was seen as the next. I'm not going to say Roberto Carlos, but he was supposed to, he was supposed to dominate the left back in Europe. And I think he's doing a very good job. He's doing a great job at he was doing a great job at Atletico. So he's a good player, dude. I mean, with the proper training program, he has everything in his hands to actually become even better. So like I said, it's been a while since I saw him play. I'm not a big fan of the Spanish league just because because of the lack of competition. You only see three teams, and it's not very fun to watch. I prefer the Premier League, so I think he's in the right place right now. So dude, he's a good player. Give him the time, give him the chance, and he's gonna win your heart as well. I personally wouldn't call him to the World Cup. I feel like Alexandro and like Stellis as well. They were the two good players to be there, but I feel like there was something lacking in the left back as well. Ever since Marcelo, grew older and stopped playing for the national team, you see a very you see that the quality plummeted since 2006. When
you've been struggling with that left back position, haven't you, in the national team quite a bit? And even at the right back as well, it hasn't been that strong, in my opinion. You've had
we had Dani Alves.
Dani Alves, of course, but since Dani Alves, I feel you're struggling because you've only got Danilo, obviously not the same Danilo there. So I feel those positions have been a bit where Brazil have struggled. But coming back to Danilo and Scarpinha, did they have a relationship at Palmeiras? Were they frequently in the team together? Do you think that if he does come to Forest, he will find it easy to settle in with Lodi? I can't say that. Logi there and Scarpinha. Do you think we're forming quite a Brazilian team at the moment? It's very exciting if it is to happen.
I mean, many of the teams who actually hired a lot of Brazilians, they had huge success. You can remember the Galacticos from Madrid when they had a lot of Brazilians. So I mean, you can't go wrong. Brazilians, they're very outgoing people, very friendly people. The one thing I feel like Scarpinha would be your greatest asset in actually signing Danilo, because most Brazilians, they're very they come from a very unprivileged background, so very poor. So they didn't have the chance to learn how to speak English. You can see Scarpa, he's a different player, even because of that. He went to England and he speaks English already, even though it's not the best, best English ever.
It's fantastic English. I think it's brilliant.
So he can make himself, be understood at any time, at any point. So Danilo, he doesn't speak English at all. So I feel like you guys have to have someone in the squad to actually guide him, and to have Danilo as a center defensive midfielder and Scarpa ahead of him as a attacking midfielder or towards the sides as a winger. That's gonna be a bomb, dude. That's gonna be bomb. I mean, I'm selling him too much because I want him to
Man,
stay at
you're
Palmeiras. But
getting.
like,
I was already excited about it. Now you're gonna get the chat going crazy about it because I hyped up Scarpa when he was coming, and we've seen he's brilliant. And like now, I'm just getting too excited. Christopher, thank you so much for becoming a member, buddy. Thank you. I'm sure you're getting hyped about Danilo as well. And do you think
I honestly,
go on, sorry.
no, I honestly hope there's not a lot of Nottingham directors or managers watching this because they're gonna want him even more, and they would be right to do so because he's fantastic, dude.
Yeah, it's because what we've seen as well with Renan Lodi is that when Scarpa came in, we saw him settle down because he came in not speaking English either. And we've seen there's been a great relationship formed between Scarpa, Renan Lodi, Owoni as well, one of our strikers, and Emmanuel Dennis. There's been this like foursome that they formed a great relationship. So I feel that Scarpina will be, he may even be involved in talking to Danilo to tell him how he's settled in, how he's finding it. So I think that'll be fantastic. I say the more Brazilians, the better. The real question I've got, and then chat, get your questions in. There's loads. We'll get through them as well. Is can he play as a holding CDM? If we were to just sit him as that holding CDM, is he disciplined enough to hold that position? Because what I've seen of him, he's very good at getting back and forth. But has he ever done that for you? Because you mentioned Casemiro, and that's the role Casemiro kind of plays. Do you think he's good enough just to hold that position?
Absolutely. So in our first squad, we have Danilo as a CDM, and as a CM, we have Zé Rafael, which is we call it the train because he's like super strong, and he can tackle and he can get forward with a lot of agility as well. So it depends on who you play him with, who you play next to him, but he can definitely do that. But like I said, he has to develop his timing a little bit, improve a little bit the physical part, because I feel like the Premier League is very demanding when it comes to the physical part, which is not the case in Brazil. If you have the right timing and if you have like skills to dribble, you are going to shine nonetheless. But in the Premier League, you have to be tactically gifted, physically gifted, and of course skilled as well. It's the best league in the world, no question about it. So I'm rooting for Forest that you guys don't get relegated. Hopefully, I want you to stay in the first division and actually give Danilo and Scarpa the chance to actually play a full season and see where they can take you. Which honestly, I don't see many players with Scarpa's vision and quality in the world right now. Of course, I'm not comparing him to Messi.
You're gonna get so excited.
He's too good, man. He's too good. Like I said, he's not very intense in the pitch, but he doesn't need to be. He has the ball. He knows where to put it. Any free kicks, doesn't matter if it's 10 yards, 30 yards, 50 yards. The ball is going to come in with that poison that we call in Brazil. It's poisonous. So that's all I have to say. Yeah.
I love it. Cooper Trooper, thank you so much for the £10 donation. That's so generous of you guys. A quick reminder, Mario's channel is pinned to the title and the description, and Omai is going to put it in the chat as well. There are no excuses not to go and subscribe to him. Look at this intel he's given us. I hope you guys are learning a lot about Danilo and Scarpina, and there's a lot of you who had heard nothing about him from this morning. I want to jump to a couple of questions. Can I ask you two questions? Because I want to ask you about the season. Part of the rumors that are going around at the moment is that there's going to be Forest may potentially buy him and loan him back out to you guys for the first. They said the first semester of the season. I don't quite know what that means in terms of the Brazilian terminology. I guess maybe up until a certain break or so. Can you explain to the guys the season in Brazil, when it starts and when it finishes, for those who don't know? Because obviously we had that same issue with Scarpina coming in. Would that be okay if you just explain to the guys when that runs?
Absolutely. So when the preseason starts, actually early January, I would say. Actually, today Palmeiras is playing against two small clubs as a preparation for the season.
Friendly,
the first game is going to be played for the regular season. The first game is going to be played in 3 days, I believe. So first we have the state championships. That's why they think, European coaches, managers who come to Brazil, they say that the calendar is too inflated. There's too many games. We play on average, a Brazilian team plays on average, if they go through all the stages of the knockout competitions and whatnot, we can play like 65 to 75 matches in 1 year. While if you compare to the European leagues, you guys have last games, you have more time to prepare between the matches. When there's a FIFA calendar for the national teams, the European leagues, they actually stop through this FIFA dates. And in Brazil, the competition keeps on going. So we actually play without our best players because we have no time. Oh, this right here, AEROPORCOS, is the podcast that I do with my friends as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to you guys.
Fantastic. And is that in Portuguese that you do it?
Yeah, so it's in Portuguese. We do basically what you guys do. We have a pre-match, post-match, weekly podcasts analyzing the opposition, Palmeiras as well, the league in general, transfer markets, and everything. So AEROPORCOS was created by my brother-in-law and two of his friends, and they invited me to be a part of it. So it's been like a year and a half, maybe. So I do AEROPORCOS, and I do my own channel where I react to the matches as well. So yeah.
So any of you guys who speak Portuguese, Mario, you just tweet me the link for it, and I'll get it out on the channel as well. For
Absolutely,
the podcast,
I'll do that right.
Oh, there he goes. Omar's already done it, I think. Fantastic.
All right.
So, sorry, nice. I interrupted you, buddy. Yeah.
I forgot where I was going.
So did I. What were we talking about? Oh, the season during Brazil.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's quite hectic, yeah.
Yeah. So from January until late March, I would say late March, early April, we have the state championships. Because Brazil is like a continental country in terms of size. So we have different states, and in each state we have the state competition, which in my opinion, it's long overdue to be done with. I don't like the state championship because it takes up too much space in the calendar. Although we have to understand that most of these young talents are being discovered, are being brought from these smaller clubs who actually play the state championships. But in my opinion, we have to focus on the Brazilian League, Brazilian Cup, Libertadores Cup, and the big competitions who actually have like more money in the prizes and whatnot, and even more international repercussion as well. So from April until I would say early December, late November, the Brazilian League goes throughout all year long. And the Brazilian Cup and Libertadores Cup, which are the knockout competitions. Brazilian Cup, of course, inside Brazil. And the Libertadores Cup, for those who don't know, it's like the Champions League in South America.
Yeah.
So
is that really big in Brazil? Because I see it on FIFA all the time, and the Libertadores cards as well. So that's quite a big one, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pinnacle. It's a pinnacle of all competitions in South America. Everyone wants to win. Palmeiras won it first in 1999, and we spent many years, I would say 21 years without winning this competition, and we won twice in less than a year. So it's a beautiful competition. It has this mystical part. It's not like the Champions League that's very well organized. The Libertadores Cup has more. It's hard to explain. If you come and watch, you're going to see that it's proper battling, dude. It's a proper battle among Argentinians, Brazilians, Uruguayans, and all the teams in South America. So it's very fun to watch. I would really recommend that you guys watch it, even though, like I said, the quality is not the same as the Champions League.
Yeah, but it's the passion.
It's very nice. It's a passion. Yeah. In South America, it's a little different.
But just very quickly, Mario, to interrupt you, our Twitter page, please go and follow it if you're not. FFTV, the High Press, have just tweeted out to say it looks like Danilo is going to Nottingham Forest. Unbelievable. It looks like Forest are now close to finalizing the deal of their second Palmeiras player. I'm sorry to break your heart live on stream, Mario, but it is breaking news. Please go and check it out on Twitter. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you're following Mario as well on Twitter. Sorry to to break it to you, but it looks like it's happening. I don't know. How do you feel hearing that, Mariano.
I'm just gonna turn off my camera and cry for.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm gonna cry here because, dude, I mean, he's a very nice player. I think I complimented him too much already. You guys are gonna love him if it does happen. One thing I heard in the past couple of days is that Monaco wanted him as well in France, and they were offering a player called what was his name, Jean Lucas, which is a Brazilian player. He was playing in Brazil until like 2 years ago or 1 year ago, I don't know. So he's a very good player. Abel, our manager, he likes him, and Palmeiras fans like him as well. They feel like if Danilo were to leave Palmeiras, Jean Lucas was supposed to be the substitute, a good replacement, right? But I think that in terms of money, you guys are going to come up with the biggest offer and just sign him. And honestly, dude, I think Palmeiras is going to keep a percentage for the future for the future
sales,
And if he plays like 2 years in Nottingham Forest and like a top tier, I'm not saying Nottingham is not a top tier club. With all due respect, I'm going to say like the big ones, like they have a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So if they come and offer you like a fortune, Palmeiras is going to, grab a nice chunk of that money as well. So it could be interesting.
It's win-win. Yeah, it's win-win for everyone.
Exactly. Only we're going to lose because we're not going to have Danilo anymore. And it's going to be hard to replace him because, like I said, he is fantastic. He's a complete player. A lot of Palmeiras fans tend to criticize him because of his timing, because of the many fouls that he commits. But I like him. I like the way he donates himself. He gives everything inside the pitch.
Yeah.
And for the Premier League, I feel like he would be a good fit. So you guys are going in the right direction. I'm just praying that you guys don't sign any more of our players because we need them to actually win something this year.
Can I ask you, because a lot of the Palmeiras guys that I've spoken to have said to me, please, because you keep signing our players, can you sign Navarro? We want you to take him. Can you explain to me why they're trolling me with Navarro? How bad is Navarro as a player?
Dude, I mean, there you have it. You don't have to be like super smart to understand. Like he sucks. He's terrible. And we hired him from Botafogo, which is a big team in Brazil. They're not going through the best, phase in their history either. But he was fairly cheap to sign. And we had high expectations because he was the top goal scorer in the second division last year, not the previous year. So then Palmeiras signed him. He basically, I think he scored like 7 goals, and 5 of them were on the same match. It's better than Endrick. You see, like we want him.
I've been seeing that a lot.
Yeah. Like if you want Danilo, they're gonna post Danilo with Navarro's face and say, "This is Danilo. Please take him away from us," because like he's terrible. And I don't blame Palmeiras fans for hating. I'm not hating him as a person, but as a player, he's very young though. He has a lot to evolve. But I feel like he's not first squad quality, first squad material, not even for Palmeiras or Nottingham Forest, or I don't know. He wouldn't be a good fit for the Premier League because I feel like he's very lazy inside the pitch. Even though he's a tall player, he's very clumsy, if that's a good definition. And he scored 5 goals in 1 match in the Libertadores Cup, but that was it. After that, I think he scored like 2 goals, and I mean we've seen enough of him. Like I said, I mean, so if someone they wanted to sign Endrick, Real Madrid wanted to sign Endrick, but then we Palmeiras fans were saying, this is Endrick with Navarro's picture, so we want to get rid of him. And if you guys want to sign like a combo, you take Danilo for 20 million, and we'll give you Navarro for we'll pay you $1 million to have Navarro.
I think anything coming from Palmeiras, from what we've had so far, we'll probably take. To be honest,
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, we're dominating the leagues here. So,
can I ask you that? Are you worried about Palmeiras now? Because it sounds like most of your top level players have been sold either to us or Real Madrid. Obviously, getting the young boy wonder as well. Are you worried about what's going to happen to you in going into this season? Is there potentially a risk that you've sold too much too quickly, or have you got enough strength and depth in the squad?
We do have enough strength and depth, mostly because of our youth squads. Palmeiras, we were going through a very hard time from 2001 until 2014, trying to hire big players for big money. Almost went bankrupt. We were relegated in 2002 and 2012, so we had to rebuild the team and the squad. And we owe that to one of our, former presidents, Paulo Nobre. He actually took money from his pocket. He's a very wealthy dude, to actually balance Palmeiras' finance side, right? Financial side. So he gave Palmeiras the opportunity of rebuilding the squad, rebuilding the club, building a new youth facility. So from that moment on, we stopped thinking about signing big players and spending big money to actually invest in youth players. So that's when we got Danilo, we got Gabriel Menino, which is a good player. Patrick de Paula was a good player. Unfortunately, he got lost somewhere along the way. He's not playing very well. He went to Botafogo, not playing very well. We had Wesley as well. Wesley was just sold to Vasco da Gama in Brazil as well.
Yeah, he's a good player.
So we have a group of like six, 7 youth players who are actually gone right now. But on the other hand, we just had, I think, like 5 or 6 young players join the first squad again. So we're replacing them with, higher quality players. So although we are losing some of the main players, I would say Scarpa and Danilo were the only main players that we lost. I don't think we lost Danilo just yet, but I think we will. Endrick is going to stay in Palmeiras until 2024. So we're good then. He can play a whole year and a half in the first squad. But we have many good players coming from the youth academies. And that's a new philosophy that we adopted in Palmeiras, which is bringing good results. Like we won the Brazilian Championship, Brazilian League in 2018. We won the Libertadores 2020, back-to-back 2021, Brazilian Cup twice, the state championship twice. So when you play the champion of the Champions League against the winner of the UEFA Europa League, we call it the Recopa Libertadores. We won that as well. So, I mean, we've been collecting and accumulating silverware with these young players being a fundamental part. Gabriel Jesus in 2016 as well. We won the Brazilian Cup, the Brazilian League. Gustavo Gomes is from Paraguay. He's like our sheriff in the center back. So don't look at Gustavo Gomes because we're not going to sell him. At least I hope so. He's like a beast.
Guys in the chat, please take some notes. We'll give Marinakis a call after. He looked very scared by Gustavo Gomes. Marinakis, Steve Cooper, if you're watching. Sorry, carry on.
I'll send you a picture of Navarro, and you can take him instead of Gustavo Gomes, dude. Please don't do that. Like Gustavo Gomes, he's the spinal cord of the team.
Poor Gabriel. Gabriel's going to be in trouble with the Palmeiras fans if that comes off.
Gabriel, don't do that. You're doing me dirty right now, dude. I mean, if you take Palmeiras squad, the first team, we had Weverton, which is a great player. So we had Gustavo Gomes, we had Danilo in the defensive midfield, we had Scarpa in the midfield together with Rafael Veiga, Dudu, which is our most skilled player. He just came back from I think he played in Dubai or Qatar for a season, and then came back. So this was the spinal cord. Gustavo Gomes is a fundamental part of the success that Palmeiras has been having and achieving in the past 2, 3, 4 years. So please don't look at him. He's ours. I'm not going to talk about him anymore. I refuse.
Okay, that's fine. Let's talk about what potentially is going to happen. Well, there's a couple more questions from the guys in the chat. Just want to ask you one from Forest Ant. He says, Mario, what's the weather like in Brazil at the moment? And will the cold, rainy English winter be any problems for the boys coming from Brazil?
Well, we're in the middle or beginning of the summer season right now in Brazil, and it was supposed to be super, humid and hot. But I arrived in Brazil for the New Year's, for the holidays, on December 27th, and it's been pretty cold, 21 degrees Celsius in Brazil. Wow, it's pretty cold. It's pretty cold. Like people here are wearing like jumpers and coats. I'm sweating because I've been living in Vancouver for 3 years now, and Vancouver's weather it's pretty similar
to Vancouver. It's beautiful.
To London, right? It's a beautiful city. I love it, but
it's
the weather
like
can be very harsh sometimes. Yeah. You can say that. Yeah, but it can get very cold if you're not used to it. I love it. I prefer the cold weather. Don't look at Gustavo Gomes. I agree. But most Brazilian players actually, when they lived in Brazil all their lives, they do have some issues adapting at first. But I feel like it's just a matter of, putting on, long sleeves and just going for it. They just love doing what they do. They love playing. So, of course, it's hard. But you've seen many great Brazilian players shining at the Bundesliga as well, which is even colder, I believe. So, I don't know if you remember Diego, who came from Santos, played for Werder Bremen. Graffiti was like a monster of a striker, played for Wolfsburg as well. So, I mean, it depends on how they adapt. Most of them, the biggest problem that they face is, they get homesick.
Yeah.
Like they want to be with their families. Yeah. So usually they bring all their families with them. Of course, the money is good, so they can afford to do that. But yeah, I feel like that's the biggest difficulty. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's just a matter of, just adapting and just playing. Dude, once you put them on the pitch, they're not going to have any issues with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just says, we're so few likes on the video. Come on, guys, we got 250 of you in here live and 133 likes. Please hit the like button and go and subscribe to Mario's channel. The link's in the title and in the description as well. Just on a side note, Anthony, because he's come over to England from Ajax, he's been, stupidly overpriced in my opinion. Is he a player the Brazilians rate, or do you still think he's got a lot still to prove for there? Just a quick note on, we don't have to go in details, but just out of interest.
Because of the lack of higher quality players, he's one of the best players in the national team right now in terms of attacking and like the very effective and offensive attacking players. So I mean, he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he's overpriced as well. He came from one of our biggest rivals as well, São Paulo. So I did not like him, and I did not think he was very good at the time. But like Ajax has something with São Paulo because they always go to their youth squads and hire like David Neres. David Neres was playing for Ajax as well.
I like
great
him,
player. Very, very acute player. So I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but not that much. He's not that as good as people say he is, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a few Portuguese comments here, but I don't know what they're saying. Is there something you could translate for the guys in the chat?
He just said, "AEROPORCOS, let's do them. Let's do it." Something like that. It's just an expression.
Okay, and then another one I'm assuming he wants us to get Navarro.
He wants you to take Navarro as well, and I do too.
Two is enough for the moment. Two for the enough. We got a question here from Kwame Swain saying, "Is Danilo a ball winner, and is he good in the air? How's his aerial attributes?"
He is a ball winner. He like we say in Brazil, at least like Abel Ferreira likes to call, he's a destroyer. So he destroys the play the opposition plays. So and he's very fast, has a lot of peripheral vision. He can connect the game with good quality and speed. And he scored quite a few goals with his head as well, like on corners or whatever. He's very present, like at the entrance of the box, But I feel like he needs to improve his striking as well. If he trains, if he practices the strikes, I feel like he would score even more goals. And that's one thing that the Premier League is always looking for, right? Players that can go forward and actually have good striking skills to actually score those goals. You see a lot of defensive midfielders who actually shine in the Premier League because they go forward and they actually they know how to score. I feel like Danilo knows how to score. He is not, I'm not going to say he's very tall. He has good height, but he lacks physical strength. When he develops that, he's gonna do good things for you, for sure.
Wow, yeah, we can't talk about him anymore. It's too much excitement for us. Let me ask you one more question on Scarpina. We hear a
Okay.
lot about his dead balls, as in his free kicks, his corners, his crossing as well. Are we right to be Forest have been missing these three key elements, and his penalties? Apparently, he's very good at
Yeah.
penalties as well.
Yeah.
Are we right to
He
believe
doesn't
these?
miss. He
Don't
doesn't
say that.
miss
Now
a
you're gonna make
penalty.
him miss. Yeah, he doesn't miss.
I'm telling you, just give him a chance.
Wow.
He's not. You're not going to be disappointed, dude. Like Palmeiras was also back in 2012, 2011, 2012. We had a player called Marcos Assunção, which is compared to Juninho as one of the best free kick takers in Brazilian
Wow.
history.
Yeah.
And it's very fair. So after Assunção retired, we didn't have any other players who could actually do what he did. And Scarpa came in 2018, and he did just that. It took him some time to adapt, but his quality when kicking the ball, moving, or even dead balls, dude, you saw that in your preseason, in your mid-season, off-season, whatever you guys call that.
Yeah.
And in this first 2 games that he actually played, he is different, dude. His ball has that Brazilian venom. So I remember you guys, there's an expression like bend it like Beckham. So you guys are going to start saying bend it like Scarpa.
I can't wait. I can't wait. We've got a game tomorrow. I'm hoping he's going to start. It's the quarterfinals of the League Cup, which is a cup that we've won 4 times historically. So we're hoping that Scarpini is going to play. Last question I've got for you, Mario, is in terms of fitness, because he's coming off a full season at Brazil. Obviously, that's when he moved to us. Is there potential that as we get further into the season, he may tire, or do you think physically he will be able to hold up? Because he hasn't had much of a break, has he, throughout the last calendar year?
Well, I think that's a possibility. It's always a possibility of that happening. You know how demanding the Premier League is in physical terms, but I feel like he's just he's living his biggest dream, dude. His dream was to go to Europe and play in England. Doesn't matter the team, doesn't matter if it's a big team, if it's a small team, whatever. He wanted to be there, and I feel like he got the right opportunity, you know.
Yeah.
And it can happen, but with his motivation, I just hope he doesn't pick up any injuries. That would be bad. And
does he pick up a lot of injuries? Has he been injury prone in his career?
He did a couple times, yes, but I feel like he takes good care of himself. So he improved in this matter within the past 3 years. So I mean, with the proper training, with the proper plan, I'm sure that you guys have good players to support him as well. So that's
I've seen the videos. He loves his condensed milk, doesn't he?
He does.
We don't have the traquinas. We don't have that. We don't have that.
You guys have a big Brazilian community in England, so I'm sure you can find traquinas in there. I can find
get my neighbor.
In
she's Brillian. I'll get her to get it in direct. If that's what he needs, I'm willing to provide it for him.
If she knows where to get it, hook Scarpinha up. He's gonna play even better. Every time we won a silverware, he would go to his city in the countryside of Brazil called Hortolândia, and he would celebrate in front of the city entrance, doing kick flips and eating traquinas and condensed milk straight from the cup. Yeah, so that's his thing. And even like that, he's different, dude. He's a different player. He has a personality that you don't see in many players around the world. So, I mean, I love him. I don't have much more to say about him, except for the fact that I miss him a lot already.
Yeah. One final question that I want to ask. It's been alleged that he's been told to calm down on the skateboard because obviously the management is quite worried about him potentially getting an injury. Has he ever been injured skateboarding in the time he had at Palmeiras, or has he been quite careful with what he does? Because there are a few Forest fans that are worried about this.
Always careful. He doesn't go crazy. He knows how to ride skateboards. Not like he's an amateur. He's not a pro either, but he has a lot of professional skateboards, his skateboarders who are his friends here in Brazil, and they would do skating sessions and whatnot. You can see that he doesn't do the most complicated tricks, the ones that bring you like that
the
high
basic
risk
ones.
of injuries. Yeah. So he does like ollies, kick flips, heel flips, like simple grinds. Like he doesn't put himself at risk. So he knows what he's doing. He's a very smart player. So he knows what he has to do. He knows his limit. But I mean, if you take who was the player, the goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer, he was snowboarding, right? And he broke his leg, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it can happen. It can happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're safe there. He's not going to go nuts, and it's just like a hobby. It's a way of him, disconnecting himself from all the pressure that he has here, that he had here in Brazil. Because in Brazil, things are very gnarly sometimes, dude. It's very the fans are very harsh. So if he doesn't play well in one game, and people see him skateboarding the next day, they get pissed, they get mad, they get annoyed, and they actually start complaining. But I don't see the reason why they would do that. Like it's just a hobby.
So it's gonna have a release, hasn't it?
Unwind. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So it's a way for him to unwind and actually be mentally ready for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Mario, I can't thank you enough. You've overexcited me. Guys in the chat, how excited are you now? And just to break to you, the High Press, our Twitter feed, make sure you're following it. It's at FFTV High Press. It will be in the comments, the link there. It is looking very likely that Danilo is coming to Nottingham Forest. We will keep you posted on this. We're breaking Mario's heart as well. I want to just say tomorrow we've obviously got the transfer news. As soon as it breaks, we'll have it live for you on YouTube and on the Twitter accounts as well. Please make sure you're following there. We've also got the Wolves match tomorrow and the player ratings. It's going to be a busy day. Mario, I can't thank you enough for coming on and giving us that wonderful insight into it. We would love to have you back again, buddy, if that's something you'd be willing to do.
Absolutely,
maybe we'll steal that player you were talking about. Maybe we'll...
No, he's Navarro. Yeah, he will.
We're good without Navarro. Just before I shout out your channels, Casinho, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. I really appreciate the support you guys have shown. We've got 250, more than that in here at the moment. It's 165 likes. Please do hit the like button. But more importantly, please go and show some love for Mario. I think he's been a phenomenal guest. The insight has been unbelievable from him. Please go and show him some love and subscribe to his channel. It's at JM Palestra. Am I pronouncing it right? Would that
Palestra.
Be right?
JM Palestra, yes.
I'm trying my Portuguese. It's in the description, it's in the title, and the mods are putting it now for you in the chat. It's one click. Show him some love. This is insight that a lot of Forest fans have not had about these players we're bringing in. And Mario, you've been an amazing guest, and thank you so much. Anything you need to shout out? Anything you've got coming up that maybe you want to share with the guys?
Well, guys, first of all, I just want to thank you, for having me. I've been following your channel ever since, you guys signed Scarpa. I was pretty mad at first, but, I see that you guys love him already. I was hoping that you guys would see his quality and actually start loving him and giving him some love, because he needs that. He's fulfilling one of his biggest dreams. And I feel like this is the best time in his career. Like he's at his peak right now. So you guys can expect great things. I appreciate you guys inviting me here. I would definitely be willing to participate again whenever you guys need. Despite for the fact that Vancouver and London are pretty far apart in terms of time, right? But we can make it work. I mean, I can definitely, 100%. Yeah, guys. So it was a pleasure. I hope you guys liked it. And most of all, please subscribe to my channel, JM Palestra, and AEROPORCOS. AEROPORCOS is the podcast that I do with my brother-in-law and a couple of friends. So it's always in Portuguese, but I'm thinking of doing English content on my channel as well to try and, expand that audience as well. So I hope you guys liked, and I do as well. Like Nottingham just got many new fans from Brazil because of Scarpa. So Palmeiras fans are supporting and are rooting for Forest, and I hope you Forest fans support Palmeiras, the biggest national team. It's the biggest national champion in Brazil. There's nothing. I
can tell you, we've already. There's a few who have got them already, but we're ordering the Palmeiras shirts as well. I want a 14 and Scarpa on the back of my one. Of course, it has to be that way.
That's
we're
beautiful,
conversing your way, you're conversing our way. It's just fantastic that football is uniting two countries who speak different languages across different time zones and continents. That's the beauty of football, and that's why we love
it's
the
a
sport so much.
global sport, and it's the best sport in the world, no question about it.
I know a few words, but mainly swear words all game.
I'll teach you one. I'll teach you one right now. You ready?
Let's do it.
Vai Palmeiras.
Vai Palmeiras. Vai Palmeiras. Yes.
Vai Palmeiras. Let's go Palmeiras.
Yeah. And we'll teach you, and Mario will finish with this. Can we get a "Come on, you Reds" from you?
Come on, you Reds.
Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow. It's going to be a busy day. Don't forget to like before you leave. We'll catch you tomorrow. And come on, you Reds. And for Palmeiras, shout it out.
Vai Palmeiras. Vai Palmeiras. Porra.
Let's go. See ya. Good night. And we'll catch you tomorrow. You Reds.